a special episode of the Paddock Pass podcast here from Madonna di Campiglio in Italy and the 2026 Ducati Lenovo team and MotoGP launch. And it's fantastic to be joined by Gavin Emmett, who's just been behind me recently, a couple of hours ago on the stage as the host of this whole thing. Gavin, do you ever still get nervous doing these things?
No, of course not. Do you get nervous hosting the Paddock Pass podcast?
Yeah, we always jumble your words.
Having to deal with David Emmett all the time. That would make me nervous.
I know, mate.
How long is he going to talk for?
Thank you for stepping in. Neil unfortunately couldn't be here. And then, of course, David, we're missing him as well. But it's great to have you back on the show.
Pleasure, mate.
Thoughts? I mean, first of all, the bike is different. I mean, a big deal was made about this Rosso Centenario. I don't know if I say it correctly.
Yeah.
It's a standard mispronunciation. I managed to get on every single Paddock Pass podcast.
It wouldn't be a Paddock Pass podcast without you mispronouncing it.
Absolutely. There's your drinking game ingredient. It's kind of, I like it. It's like a different, brighter kind of red.
Yeah, it's like a bit deeper, isn't it? It's got, centenary red. They've got 100 years they're celebrating for Ducati. And I think it looks good. I like the Go Faster stripe. I'm a big fan of it. You know?
Yeah.
A bike's got to be quicker. I had a chat with Claudio Domenicali, though, and he wouldn't let me say that. Out of superstition. After the 2004 bike wasn't fast enough. When it looked good, he said, superstition, I can't say this, but I think it looks good. The matte finish as well.
He's going back some time, 2004.
Yeah, I know, but he doesn't, like, these people harbour things for a while, don't they?
Yeah. And before, people or listeners or viewers are wondering what we're waffling on about, a livery is pretty important because how it comes across, I mean, you spend your entire season watching racing through the monitors and the screens when you're at the tracks. And I think it was most famously the Jaguar F1 design. I mean, it was a dark green, but when you saw it on the screen, it came off like black.
Yeah.
So it's an important ingredient to get right.
It is when it's your sponsor, your branding, that kind of thing, when that's all part and parcel of it. And as Ducati is saying, they've got 100 years of heritage. And so it is an important bit for everyone that's involved in it. And you mentioned that if you look at the front of the bike, Pecco's changed his number this year.
Yeah.
He's a white number now. So these are things that I look at when I'm commentating, just little things that because you get a glimpse, you might get a frame and you need to know who it is. Someone's crashed or whatever, that kind of thing. There won't be any crashes, of course, this year. No, but Marc's got like the white outline on his number. They've both changed the font as well a little bit. I mean, they're minor things. They don't really matter in terms of speed, but just for the visual aesthetics of MotoGP, I think it's got to look good, hasn't it, the sport?
Yeah,
to be attractive to people, it's got to look good. And I think that'll look good under lights in Qatar, for example.
And I think we've had too many red bikes. I'll be curious to see what the Castrol HRC bike looks like this year because, you get too much red on the grid. It can be a bit... it just diffuses everything a little bit too much.
You get too much. I think everyone should pick a colour.
Yeah.
They should get handed out a colour. Come on.
We should go back to like the 1950s in cars where we had, the Italians were in red, the British were green, the Germans were silver, French were blue, I think. But anyway.
Before my time, Adam. I'm not as old as you.
You're close, mate. You're close. Some news takeaways, and we've just had the press conference downstairs when both riders were talking. And first and foremost, Marc Marquez, it was touch and go with his shoulder. And he was saying just in the last week or two, he's sort of made an evaluation that he's close to getting to 100% for Thailand. But you'd have to imagine the way, or what he was saying anyway, that Sepang and the Buriram test could be a bit tight. I don't think he's going to be running the most amount of laps.
No, it's hard, isn't it? On something like a shoulder, you can't rush it. He's been there before. Other riders have been there before. We've seen people succumb. Maverick Vinales last year, for example, just as first example that comes to mind, it's affected all of his last part of the season because if you rush these things, it will linger. So I think he's so savvy about injuries now that he'll know, and he won't know until he gets on the bike proper how it is. But he obviously feels like in the last couple of weeks it's been building and it's coming now in the gym. So yeah, I think it's been interesting. There's only so much you can say in a presentation. You haven't ridden a bike, I know Pecco tested in Valencia, but there are going to be a lot of changes. That's what has come out when I've been backstage this week, and I've been with the bosses, with Gigi, with Davide Barana, and it sounds like they are not. You're not going to die wondering. They are making changes to this bike. They are pushing on things. The ride height device is going to evolve. There's going to be obviously going to be more aero. Even with the engine freeze, they're going to try and get more power out of that engine. They said they're going to work on the airbox. A few things that they're doing there.
Yeah, lubricants as well.
That's one thing that they mentioned. But there was one thing that Gigi, we were laughing yesterday. So I saw the bike yesterday because I was doing the presentation, and I was looking. I said, "Hey, it looks good," and he goes, "It won't look like this." I'm like, yeah, brilliant. What's coming to the party? I wonder whether there'll be more seat unit additions. We know Aprilia, there was something there, wasn't there, that in terms of that last bit of stability. So I wonder if they're going to look down those avenues a little bit more.
Yeah, the
when
front
we're
of
talking
the
about
RSGP as well was significantly different.
That's changed a bit, hasn't it? So it's clearly going to be a lot of different things are going to test, and we will know. I'm pretty sure after day 1 or 2, they will know if it's a step in the right direction. And because our seasons are so compressed now, testing is so few days. They only get 5 before the start of the season. They will know whether they're going to be competitive from the off. And recently, Ducati haven't been in the first couple of races until Marc turned up.
The advantage for the world champion is your question in the press conference, what was the top of your wish list for the 2026 bike? And he kind of said nothing.
Yeah.
So maybe there's not quite the need for him to be pounding out 80, 90 laps in Sepang.
I wonder how much kidology there is there.
Because he's sitting right next to Pecco.
Because he's sitting next to Pecco, and Pecco's like, well, obviously I need traction into the corners. Obviously everyone knows what He
took a long time to answer that.
Yeah, he did. I think he didn't want to give us the obvious answer, but Marc then said, well, nothing. So I just wonder whether there's, because Marc's got to have been feeling something similar. We know there were vibration issues. He had the mass damper on the back all the time, so there were certain things that were going on. That's one area that they've been working on as well. So yeah, I'm excited to see what the bike actually looks like when we get to testing in Sepang.
I thought Barana's words were interesting as well about the ride height device, because he said in the last year of this kind of contraption, if you like, Ducati, I'll bring in another version of it. So it's, they're going all out for Domenicali flashed out his statistics as well, 88 consecutive podiums. I mean, there is pride there in the numbers, and Ducati are really going to chase them again, it seems.
I asked the question to Gigi Dall'Igna on the stage, what part of this bike is most Ducati? And he said the ride height device, because let's not make any bones about it. It transformed Ducati's fortunes since they were the first to really go down that route of things, and it's been since then. It has been their weapon, it has been their strength. It's going at the end of this year. How much will that affect things in 27? That is something that is going to be fascinating to watch as the 850s get developed. But this year, with that ride height device, they're not standing still. They're going even further. It is definitely going to be dragging on the ground at some of the race starts this year. I've got a feeling, that we're going to see it even lower than before.
Gav, from the media attendance here, most are Italian, obviously. The second biggest contingent is from Spain, again, obviously. But there is kind of like another Spaniard that's kind of been lurking in the background. I mean, the name of Pedro Acosta keeps coming up to be a Ducati Lenovo rider. We asked the riders about this in the press conference, about sort of strategies for 2027. And there was a little kind of look, you identified it with Marc Marquez, that he said you don't agree a 1-year deal. You have to be fair to the manufacturer and to the team, and you have to agree a 2-year contract. And he's not being vague, is he? He's not being indecisive. I mean, if you study his body language, perhaps there's a degree of mastery there, because he wasn't giving a lot away, but it seems like he's intent on doing another 2 years.
I am convinced he will announce it with Ducati for 2 more years, really early, even if before the season. I go back to Pecco Bagnaia 2 years ago, before we started in Qatar, 2004, Pecco announced that he was signing up for 2 more years. The factory likes to get it done. Marc will want to get it done. You forget about it then, and that's where you're going to be for the next couple of years. Everyone's happy then. Pecco said, I'm not even thinking about it. And I think that's one case that's true, but I don't think anyone's talking to him yet. He has, not saying things to prove, but he needs to show Ducati that he's still got it. That's what he needs to do. And then they can start talking about things. But he's not on their wish list. As Marc himself said, factories work to one rider, and there'll be one rider on their radar, and it's got to be Marc. I wouldn't be surprised to see it before the start of the season, and then they can wait. Then they can see. It's usually around Mugello, isn't it? That was where the decision, that's Martin and Marquez. So it's usually around there, or Lorenzo, who was it at the time, when Lorenzo was signing or not signing on Petrucci, or all these. It happens in Mugello. So that's where Pecco will be aiming to be in a position to re-sign with by then, or looking for another factory if they are talking to Pedro or Fabio or whoever.
Could you see Marc and Ducati hogging the limelight at the season launch, perhaps, in Kuala Lumpur, MotoGP? I mean, an announcement of a new 2-year deal would pretty much grab the thunder of that event.
Yeah, I can see that. And I know the Malaysian fans will go wild for Marc anyway, because he is adored in Southeast Asia. So it wouldn't be a bad way to start the year, would it? I don't know. Maybe I would see it more towards into Thailand. But who knows? I just feel like, why would he give up on Ducati? They obviously want him as their talisman now. You know, it's a cruel business is
Yes,
MotoGP, but he is their lead man now, and he has delivered them the title, and so he instantly becomes their lead rider. And I just can't see either wanting to go anywhere else. Why would they? And so, yeah, get it done. Forget about it then. You can just focus on the job at hand.
Gavin, I need to get going, so this is a quick show, a very sort of rapid ultra one. But I want your verdict before we sign off on, you know, these two sort of World Championship winning athletes. I mean, they are two of three different riders that have won 4 titles for Ducati in the last decade. Who comes out on top? I mean, we can expect Bagnaia to be better, right? I mean, the altered ride height device, you would assume that has to be catered more towards getting the best out of him.
Absolutely. Look, we all hope, actually. We hope that Pecco's there. It was a sorry sight to see him at times last year. You and I spoke to him and all the press so much over last year. And he's a good man, is Pecco. He's honest. He's upfront. You know, he will tell you what he's thinking. He wears his heart on his sleeve in that respect. He'll be very honest with you. And so we want him to be back in the mix. It's good for the sport if he's back in the mix. And if these two can be going at each other, even better, because you can bet your bottom dollar that Aprilia are going to be there, that, you know, Pedro Acosta's going to be doing what he can with KTM, that Honda will make a step as well. And so they need to push on. They do need to make some steps this year, because otherwise the others are coming.
Yeah. Gav, thanks ever so much for your time.
It's a pleasure, buddy. As always, Ad.
And subscribe, follow, comment, do what you like. We'll be back with a regular show, I think a little bit later this week. Steve and Gordo have also recorded a preview for the Superbike testing, which gets underway imminently, I think. So, yeah, we'll be back. Thanks for listening and watching.
Only nice comment.